What do gay inmates actually face in prison? Is it like all the movies you see where you can just about imagine they're getting sodomized by every big guy named Bubba walking around the yard? It ain't like that at all. I mean, nothing that I ever saw. Did you ever see any of that?
No, not unless that's what they wanted. I got most of the guys I knew got along great with everyone. They were fun. Some of the, especially the flamboyant ones, they're really funny. I always kick. Well, I kicked it with Jason all the time. Most of them have boyfriends, or some of them are just out whoring around. But it's all by choice. Nobody's making them do it.
Yeah, it's like we had one in Latuna. I've told you about before, Candy, and Candy looked like a girl, a woman, was a black guy, and he'd already had the shots. He had boobs, wore a sports bra, had black hair. He'd straighten the stuff there, and the new guys would come in, and Candy would be over on his bunk, over there, and they'd glance over and they'd look again, like what the hell, and Candy looked just like a woman till about 5 o'clock at night. You see him in the bathroom there with a shaver. He was the first one I dealt with when I first got in Latuna, and that dude was straight gay. I mean, and had two, three boyfriends, and the boyfriends were buying him groceries and some commissary, and so he had it. He had it going.
Well, yeah, a lot of the gays have a full locker. They get, there's all kinds of stuff going on the DL. I was thinking about a story that you probably forgot. You were Jack was a photographer in prison, and so he would go around and take the pictures. People would buy a coupon, and they have a one day a week when Jack would take pictures. And there was this little gay guy named Trey, a really light skinned black kid, but everybody called him Beyonce. And I don't know if you remember this, Jack, but you were taking his picture, and he came up and he had his hair tied up into little two pigtails with like a little pink ribbon yarn tied his thing up, and he had a red sucker and his lips were all red. And then when you were ready to take the picture, he put the sucker in his mouth and gave you some cute pose, and you weren't ready for that, man. And if you could have seen your face, it was some funny shit.
Yeah, they pulled some shit because they actually took kind of advantage of it on the humor side of their position in life, I guess you want to call it, and stuff there. But I got along to fine. There was some shit that my interaction with him when I started with him, but this was here, George Jung. The movie Blow was made about George Jung, and he was in Latuna with me. And if you ever seen the movie Blow, that's the guy. If you haven't, you got to watch it. It's a great movie. Anyway, George and I were sitting out in the yard. I was getting ready to go run, tying my shoes, and George is sitting there at the table, his feet kicked back, reading something. And this gay kid come walking up there. And he's a young kid. I think from Laredo. Anyway, he comes walking up, and he was getting ready to transfer out or something. And we'd helped him a couple times, and guys were trying to kind of pat him on the butt when he didn't want to, and things like that. He comes up and goes, "Jack, can I talk to you for a second, just for a second, privately?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He goes, "Well, I took private." And George is sitting there. I said, "Well, George is okay." George goes, "Well, I won't say anything. Go ahead. What is it?" He goes, "Well, okay." He says, "Well, I just wanted to tell you, I know you're heterosexual and you're never ever going to be gay, that kind of stuff. But I want you to know I've always been in love with you since I met you. You've always been good to me, and I know nothing will ever come from it. But I'm transferring out. I wanted to tell you how much I loved you before I left." And he gives me a little hug and he walks off. And George looked at me and goes, "Well, that was goddamn uncomfortable." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You keep your mouth shut." He goes, "You got to worry about me. Not one bit." And Kent Jones, these other guys I hang out with, are walking out. And George Sutter goes, "Hey, Kent, you ain't going to believe this shit. That dude's boring." And he told him the whole story.
He
Anyway,
blew you right up.
yeah, he popped me right off, right to everybody. And everybody just roared. And but yeah, that was a strange interaction. I'm sure you've had at least a few.
Yeah, what's funny is you have anybody that hasn't been to prison that might be watching this, you got to understand gay humor is, it's all over prison, and it's funny stuff. In fact, it passes a lot of your time. Like Jack and me both know this kid Jason. He was a young gay kid from New Mexico, nice kid, and I always messed with him. And he used to always work out. Jack and me had an office at the gym. We have one at education too, but we were sitting in the gym one, a little TV and some office chairs. But right outside the window, that's where there's a little rubber mat right in front there, and it's the weight pile right there. And this is where guys would always walk up to the window with their shirt off in the afternoon, and because you can see your reflection, that's all they're seeing. But we're actually sitting in there, And these guys, we get these guys coming in doing these stupid poses, and most of them aren't in that good a shape. And Jack goes, "Oh, do they know that we can see them?" but
That was a weird
Jason,
deal because what's that?
I was going to say, but Jason, remember, Jason comes running. Jason, the little gay guy, he used to work out on that mat, and he would spread all of his stuff out, and he would do his little thing because we would see him sometimes because it was right against our window. But Jason comes in one time, he's all in a tizzy, and he looks at me, and he called me dinosaur a lot, and I had that was one of my nicknames because I was old and I played a lot of sports, and I knew a lot of young people. Anyways, he comes in, he goes, "Dinosaur," he goes, my rec area out there, it's a mess. Doesn't anybody pick up the weight pile? And I go, "Well, yeah, somebody probably left their shit though. I can't, the guys clean it in the morning and once in the afternoon." And he goes, "Well, that's not really." He goes, "Look out there. There's shit, stuff everywhere." I said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you." So he goes out, and then he comes back in. He goes, "Well, who's going to clean up my rec area?" And I thought for a second, and I reached down, I opened the desk drawer, and I had toilet paper. I grabbed a roll of toilet paper, and I threw it to him, and I go, "Hey, you clean up your own rec area." And he looked at me, and he didn't catch on. Then he caught on. His face turned red, and he goes, "Fuck you, dinosaur," and walks out.
Yeah, Jason was a good kid. Candy, I got to tell you, this is kind of a little bit of a long story, but I got to tell you a story in Candy, how he operated. He had these young black guys that come in, and he'd get in with them, and they'd fall in love with him. I mean, these guys fell in love with this dude. And this one young guy, Candy was a kind of a troublemaker up in our unit, and our bunks were side by side in this open unit. Had a guy next to him, big black guy, real cool guy, I around named Carter. And but there's one window over there that opened up, and Carter wanted it open all the time, and we all did, so the breeze would blow through. We're on the Mexican desert. You got to have some kind of breeze at night. Candy wanted it shut. They'd had this big battle about that. On the other side of Candy is a little Jewish guy, a little short, fat Jewish guy, read all the time, no problem. So anyway, Carter opens that window up. Candy goes, "I want that shut." Carter goes, "You touch that, you bitch. You're going to find out what happens." So Candy goes, "We'll see about this." So she goes, he or she, whatever you want to call him, goes down to get his boyfriend and brings him back. And he's walking down past us, and I'm watching, and he says, "Boyfriend, I'm telling you, I want that window shut. You take care of him, and you take care of him right now." And I'm like, "Done." The kid goes, "I've got this. I'll take care of this." And he walks over to the Jewish guy and says, "Man, I'm telling you, you leave that window shut. Candy wants that shut." And the Jewish guy's reading. He gets these glasses like this. He goes, he goes, "I ain't your problem." And he points over at Carter and goes, "That's your problem." Carter's about 5 and nothing but muscles.
No, shut up.
Yeah, so the kid looks at him, and all once he just kind of shrinks down, and Candy goes, he walks off. Candy goes, "Hey," he points at his ass. "You want any more of this? You take care of this problem, and I mean now." So the kid, he kind of comes back, and Carter goes, "Man, get out of here. This ain't gonna be good." And the kid called him out. In the bathroom they go. As they walk in the bathroom, yeah, that's
he
what
must have been in love.
Well, yeah, he was. So now they're in there. So Rob Schwinger, this guy next to me, and we both get up. We got this, cheap pie we bought in commissary. We split it in half to go in and watch the fight. So they get inside there, and this kid gets back. He's in the fight. Carter hits him, and he slides across the floor. And the bottoms of the shitters, the kid's head slides out the shitter, and there's a guy in there named Cowboy taking a shit. He goes, "What the hell are you doing down there?" And he kicks the kid in the head a couple times. So it's over, we think. And the CO, correctional officer, is out in the hall. He comes running in there. He goes, "Stop, everybody stop right now." It's pretty cool, correctional officer. We think it's done. Candy runs in and has got his lock on the end of his belt with that Velcro.
Yeah.
Over, hits Carter on top of the head with that lock.
Shut up.
Carter goes, "Ouch," grabs him, pulls him there, hits him one time, and he bounced off the walls like a ping pong ball and slid down the wall. And he's sitting there, his top's pulled down now, got these man tits hanging out. And the CO goes, "Are we done now?" And Carter goes, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "All right, well, let them lay, go back to your bunk." And he walked out.
And the window stayed open.
The window stayed open forever.
No, that's some funny shit, man. Yeah, I like a good story like that. Do you remember? We were just talking about Beyonce, Trey. Well, if you remember, well, first off, Nut, our friend that we played basketball with, he was in love with her. But that little skinny kid, that was his girlfriend, and he was like probably 23-year-old kid, probably weighed a buck 50 wet, but he talked a big game. He hung out with this guy we knew, Denver, and I liked him. He was actually kind of funny. He was like a little rooster, running around, and that was his girlfriend, and he used to always call Beyonce. He goes, "Yeah, that's my punk." And I go, "Well, you might think that's your girlfriend." I go, but it doesn't matter if you're pitching or catching. You're still in the game.
No, we had a guy played in our basketball team. This was down in Latuna too, and this guy, he's a big black guy. He was, I think he was from Vegas. I'm not even sure, but he's like 6'5", 6'6", real well formed, good basketball player and stuff. This young white punk kid on this basketball team, he's anti. He's like a white. He wants to be a skinhead, yeah, fucking gays. And they're on the side watching us play, and we're playing up there. And this guy, black guy, he's gay, and this skinhead apparently doesn't know this. And he's out there going, "Yeah, I see one of them gays. I fuck him up. I do it right here in front of everybody. Yes, we're standing right. This guy, hey Jack, let me have the ball." Takes the ball, goes over, boom, hits him in the chest, but he goes, "Fuck me up." He just looks at him. He says, "It ain't the package, buddy. It's the way I believe things." Fuck me up. That kid just sat there, he waited, and the worst thing he could have done, he just walked off. You know how that
Yeah.
looks. It's all over
But
there.
at least he was smart.
Yeah, that guy crushed him, that kind of stuff. But I told the guy, "Hell, I didn't know you were gay." He goes, "Ain't important. You ain't gay." I said, "You're right. That's it."
Yeah.
It's not.
It didn't really have anything to do with it.
No, hell, he and I were cool, but it's just a lot of misconceptions people have in there.
So,
Folks, tell us what you think about this. Subscribe, give us a like, and tell us what you think, because we got thick skin. Tell us whatever you think. And we talk about the gays' life in prison. We got some more coming out. We're going to talk about skinheads in prison later on, and you got to hear about them shitheads. They are shitheads. We will talk about shit about them. But anyway,
yeah.
That's all we got this week. GT, where are you sitting out there? I recognize the spot you're
I'm
at.
over at the Brew Crew here in Riverside, California. Come on out and enjoy some good prison break beers. We just won this IPA just won another award at the U.S. Open last week. So, anyways, come on in and have a beer if you're in the Riverside area. Thanks.
There you go. It's Jack and GT from Bed Joints to Beer Joints. Talk to you soon.